He comes from the south and has a big mouth. He's the jack of all games, master of none. He's older than dirt and he wears funny shirts, but he's up to the test as he faces SteamWorld Quest. Welcome our very own servant of adventuring, JCServant. They come from far and away, in evil guise they slay, robots always on guard who believe in the heart of the cards. Gamers everywhere rejoice, for the combat system offers much choice. They will take you on a trek in SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh. Let's get ready to rumble in this episode of JCServant Plays.
Hello, welcome one and all. This is another episode of JCServant Plays, and a very exciting episode it is indeed because we are starting a new game today. A new game for me, anyways, for the stream. We are going to be playing SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh, as you heard on the introduction there. Um, who did you have kill? Who did you have to kill to get that narration? But monologue first, please continue. I know, you like that, huh? Yeah, but no, yeah, the intro there, that is all handmade. Now I have a friend who does the graphics, which I think he does a really great job of that. And then I did all the voice work. It's my years of podcasting there for RPG Backtrack. I learned to do a few things with audio editing, so there you go. And that was very quickly thrown together. That's why I was running a little late because I had nothing set up for tonight in the system. And so I was just trying to get the title card set up, and I had that introduction stuck in my head I wanted to get recorded real quick, and just kind of getting this all together here at the last minute, which unfortunately means that I didn't have time to test how the game works with OBS first, which is something I've learned that I really should do before doing these recordings. So I apologize in advance for any IT shenanigans. As always, you guys get only the best high quality productions here at rpgamer.com. But yes, I'm Phil, aka JCServant from rpgamer.com, your source for news, reviews, podcasts, and home to the best gaming community on the net, at least in the world of RPGs. That is what we do. That is what I do here with you guys on JCServant Plays. And today we are playing SteamWorld Quest here, Hand of Gilgamesh. And if you haven't heard of this game before, it is a turn-based role-playing deck building game hybrid that's part of the SteamWorld series of video games, because you got SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2 and SteamWorld Heist, which is kind of like a tactical side-scrolling, shooter thing to work through. I played some of Dig, and I really need to finish Dig because Dig's really not that long, but I keep getting sidetracked with other stuff. And at first, when I started playing SteamWorld Dig, it comes off as a little simplistic and maybe not something I really be into. But the more I got into it, the more I was really starting to dig dig with me, to get into me, to dig into me, whatever. It ended up being pretty fun, and it's something I really do want to go back to and finish off. But I chose this game because, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to go on with the rest of the stuff. It's developed by Image and Form and published by Thunderful Publishing, according to the notes here on the internet. You can get this on your Switch. I'm playing it on Windows here. It is actually part of Google Stadia because I know everyone's playing that. Linux, it works on Linux and other Mac OS operating systems. So it's out there, and there's a couple reasons I chose this game. One is it is available, on Windows, but also the Nintendo Switch, which is might be the most. I think it is the most popular system out there nowadays. So there's other people playing this other than just PC. But if you're a PC lover like I am, you could definitely. We're gonna have hopefully a good time here. I also chose this because it's a little on the shorter side. I want my first couple of streams and Let's Plays to be shorter so I could get more of a feel for the vibe and how long it takes and stuff like that. I'll talk more about that later when we're actually playing and how my run went with Child of Light. So there's a couple of reasons I picked that there. Another reason is it's one of Michael App's favorite games. Shout out to Wheels. And we're good gaming buds. And we have similar taste in gaming. And he likes this a lot. He kept telling me I need to play it. So here I am. I'm definitely going to play it. But yes, SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh is on the docket for this evening. But before we start that, I'd like to remind everybody to go and check out rpgamer.com. They're the ones who make this all happen, and you'll be able to watch once this is all recorded, or maybe even not just you'll be able to catch this all over also on our YouTube page. I will get these episodes uploaded over there. So if you're going to watch this video on demand later on, if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch it in the archives here on Twitch, or you can go catch it over on YouTube if you prefer your video on demand over on YouTube. So we are out there and we are everywhere. And on top of that, this is the year of Twitch streaming for us. There's a lot more content that's coming out all the time. We'll go over the schedule later on, but we got streams every single day here, and we have different shows coming out, like the RPG XP that I do every couple of weeks, where I give you a 1 hour condensed version of a let's play and show you what I like about the game, give you some tips and tricks that I learned along the way. The let's play is essentially my research. You get to be with me as I research and play the game through. And then the show is where I bring my thoughts together and share that experience inside and out while even reading your comments. As an interactive show. It is more than a let's play, it's an experience, the RP Gamer experience. And it's right here on Twitch every other Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got some other shows out there like the 1 hour to impress show that I've started doing, and those happen out of random nowhere, where I will take usually a roguelike is what we're doing right now, and I'll give it an hour to impress me. I just did it with Neoverse. That's a fun show. If you want to go check that out again on YouTube right here on Twitch, you can go and see whether or not that game impressed me and earned its spot on the Wheel of Rogue, or if it got thrown out with the trash to be forgotten for all time. To find the answer out to that question, you'll need to watch the show. And to keep up with future shows, you'll need to follow us right here on Twitch, or follow me on RP Gamer at JCServant RP Gamer. That information will be at the bottom once I get to start to play. So don't worry if you didn't catch all of that. We'll talk more about that later. And that is the monologue before we start the Let's Play. Don't worry, I don't do the speech every single Let's Play episode. Only when I start a new game, I like to kind of get a lot of the credentials out of the way. But we're going to go ahead and get this game and get this party started. My rules for Let's Play, if you've never been into a Let's Play before with me, know that I will whenever the characters in the game are talking, I will let them talk. And if there's just text on the screen, I will read that. So understand that that is a thing. You know, how you doing today, Peter? How are things? Oh, okay. No big fancy introduction then. Just just a nice little serene melody there at the beginning, which will be on mute for just a minute as I fix OBS and fix our little frame around the game so it doesn't look all silly. Usually I do this ahead of time, so I apologize. We try to be a little bit more professional in this, but it was a bit of a rush job today. Okay. Actually, let's see if we got a Xbox controller action on this one. There we go. Yeah, love it when it just goes right to Xbox controller. Here we go. I booted up Monster Hunter World myself. All right, going on a hunt. Always a good idea. I do love myself some hunt. See, now, compared to this to Child Light, where you have either casual or expert. Here you've got 3, and it tells you, very, easy, suitable difficulty for most players, and legendary. See, I don't go for legendary because I don't want to embarrass myself on stream on purpose, so we're going to go with the way the game was meant to be played.
Time to get ready for bed, son.
Oh, Dad, tell me a story first, please.
Oh? You want to from the high seas, do you?
No, not another pirate story. I want to hear about dragons and knights in shining armor.
Dragons, you say? Well, then we have to go way back to the age of heroes.
When our world was still young and innocent, the gods grew born and forged a heart of evil and placed it in the chest of a behemoth. A true hero was called upon, and by his hand the corrupted heart of the monster was torn out and buried where it could do no harm. Over the years, his heroic deeds fell into obscurity.
Yeah.
Instead, heroes of fortune spread across the land like a shadow. But there was still light to be found. Our story begins with two such lights. Two friends strolling through the forest in search of a mushroom.
Cute.
Chapter 1. The Knight and the Alchemist.
As if sent on As if sent on a mission by the ancient gods, our heroes cut their way through the Green Fingers Grove. The smell of hazard and fungus hit them as they searched for the fabled peppermint puffer. Will you stop narrating everything? Chapter 3 in the Hero's Handbook clearly points out the importance of visualizing. Visualizing my foot in that fully illustrated book of yours is a pun-ridden Kringlefest. Hey, don't diss the book. And by the way, what are we eating? We should have taken Galileo up on breakfast before we left. He didn't invite us for breakfast. He said he'd rather eat the slowly gathering dust in his basement before joining our mushroom hunt. And this mushroom we're hunting is important enough for you to literally pull me out of bed? You can't do real alchemy from the comfort of a bed. A few of the professors at the college actually tried that, but the rest of them shriveled up over their research in musty, sun-forsaken labs. There is one professor, though, who really inspired me. Generalizing the importance of actually going out in the world to deeply knowledge practically for the good of many, or deploy knowledge practically for the good of many. Today's deployment is about finding the medicinal peppermint puffer. Not only is it anti-hypertensive, hepatoprotective, and nephroprotective, it can also... Oh, you're setting me in the mood for stew. We're not making stew. Look, let's just get going. I know you get restless, so why don't you take the lead for a while? Okay. Odd. Ah. Many objects in the world, such as Mushroom Patch ahead, can be interacted with. Move near the mushrooms and use the controls shown below, or by clicking on them with a mouse to look at them. Hey, that was easy. Time to get these cooked up before the rooster crows. Unfortunately, these are common brushwood amanitas. We're after peppermint puffer, remember? Dang! Also, they're poisonous. Don't eat them. Double dang! God, more of those pompous posers from the village. Wait a minute. I knew the guild had some flimsy hangarounds, but you're practically rattling around in that bulky armor. Did you just call me scrawny? Whoa, easy now. I didn't say. This armor fits perfectly. Here we go. Battles are fought using punch cards. Each turn you'll draw up to 6 cards. These cards represent abilities your hero can use. You can choose up to 3 cards to play each turn. The cards will be lined up at the top of the screen. When you're happy with the cards you've selected, hit the finish button. If you prefer, you can also select cards and targets by clicking on them with your mouse or right-clicking to cancel. A few alternate options for interacting with your cards will be available by hovering over the hand too. Heroic Strike. Deals physic damage. Book Bash deals physical damage. Mana Barrier grants one ally damage heal equal to 20% of the maximum health for up to 3 turns. Bravado heals Armalie by 75% magic and raises her strength by 1 grade for 3 turns. Oh, Armalie's a lady robot. Should be using a lady voice. Personal computer version, right? Yeah, right. Do. Give these a shot here. Oh, that's rude. She had a shield on. Your heroes can play 3 kinds of cards: Strike, Upgrade, and Skill. Strike cards are just what they sound like: basic, uncomplicated attacks that deal damage to your enemies. Upgrade cards empower your heroes temporarily. As your heroes use Strike and Upgrade cards, they build up steam pressure that can be spent for powerful skill cards, such as Flame Wave. Deals damage to all foes. Well, that just sounds special. Oh, and there's Brave Basher. Flame Wave, go! Each strike or upgrade card generates 1 SP. Your heroes have a shared pool. Skill cards are very versatile and powerful, but if you don't have enough SP, you can't play them at all. Manage your pool wisely. Yeah, manage it wisely, but knock them side to head. Yep, this is the per PC version here. And you could definitely get this on your Switch. I'm playing with the controller, so easy as mushroom pie, huh? We've clearly stepped into Coglin turf here. To change accents since I found out the character was a girl. Let's just try to get out in one piece, okay? You think there's more of them? Awesome! It's like herding a small tornado. Our heroes chanced upon a relic, a testament to the glorious battles of the past, and some long-forgotten treasure. More likely Coglin loot stolen from unwary travelers. The Hero's Handbook declares, after beating up ruffians fair and square, the champions deserve a proper reward. Found repair vial. Recovery items can be used to heal your heroes or cure status conditions. They're a good way of dealing with challenges that you can't solve with cards alone, but supplies are limited. You can find recovery items in chests by defeating enemies or buying them from merchants. Use recovery items outside of combat by going to the items. Your heroes are automatically revived and cured of negative status conditions at the end of each battle, so some items can't be used that way. Use recovery items in battle by going into the battle menu and selecting recovery items. They count as playing a card for the turn, so think carefully of when to use them. Make money by chopping down the bushes. Oh shoot, more of those pint-sized troublemakers. Ooh, let's ambush them. The Hero's Handbook describes just what to do in a situation like this. There's 2 whole pages with diagrams on how to start a cockling. And we sneak up behind them, strike them first, and gain the upper hand. You must realize that regardless from which direction you come waving a sword at anyone, you'll just startle them. Whoa, so you say the method works on anybody? This book is great! Beware, foes will engage if they see you. Gain the upper hand by pressing the indicated button when they're close enough to attempt a preemptive strike. This will cause your foes to begin the battle already wounded. But before we do that, let us take a moment to introduce our co-host, Tiger Willis. That's right, Tiger goes wherever I go. Wherever I play a game, he's right there beside me to help me through the game by believing in me. Tiger believes in me, and through the power of friendship, I can beat any game knowing that he's at my side. You're so photogenic. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have full screened that. You're right, Moncappy. My bad. I'll full screen it next time. If he comes back, we'll do it in the second half. He might come back. Boo boy. Nope, he's not having any of me now. What, Boo? He's over there in the corner. Oh, don't get coins for those. You can redraw cards in your hand up to 2 times each turn. Redrawing a card means the selected card will be discarded and replaced by a new card from your deck. Discarded cards will eventually make their way back into your hand, so don't hesitate to use withdraw often to get rid of unplayable cards. And remember, if you neither play nor withdraw anything, your hand will not change. Oh, guess what, guys? Guess what, guys? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? He's back. Now, here we go again. Hi, my name is Tiger Willis, and I encourage all of you out there to help my master, Phil, aka JCServant, out to beat this game by believing in him through the power of friendship. He can beat SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh, hopefully much more efficiently than he did with Child of Light. I didn't like Daddy when he was so angry. What? Someone doth protesteth much. There you go, cat cam. Let me give him a little pet for being a good boy. You can't like torture him and not give him a little pet for being good there. All right, the hate is real. I know, right? Shoot. We do like our mana barriers. And what is this? Bravado. Oh, wait. Mana barriers is for her. We'll hold on to that bravado. And this uses a steam. Flame pillar. I'll let him go at it there. Nope, get down off of there, bad kitty. Got some more cards. Now we can use that bravado to heal him up. Got some book pashes and some fire pillar. We should only need a book bash for him. Just in case he has some sort of armor, we'll go for the overkill. Oh, there we go. All right. Do another fire pillar here and a brave buster, and he ain't gonna survive that, I don't think. Doesn't seem to be a lot of RNG on the damage. Comes in within a point of what it says. Whack, 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 whack. Oh, what's that sword? Money there. So we can go north or south. We'll go north. If you're just joining us, my name is Phil, aka JCServant, and we are playing SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh. Oh, damage carries over. Good to know. And all of those take, take gear power. Protection. We're just getting started with this playthrough. I feel like these are like the tutorial battles. Kind of zip through these as quickly as we can. Take that and that. Oh, whack. Let's give him a little bravado, or give her. It's actually a lady character. Let's give her a little bravado. Oh, really? 1 hit point left? Well, can't have that, can we? Level up. Do 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 do. Found steel bracer. Select the character you wish to equip and select the accessory slot to reveal a list of available items. Steel bracer gives you 20% more health. Well, that's very handy. We shall equip. Look, Corporencia! Even the Coglins have raised statues over Gilgamesh, the true ancient hero. The majestic pose, the pride of the great deed oozing from every cut of the chisel. Ugh, those statues are literally everywhere. Well, of course they are. Gilgamesh saved our kingdom from certain doom. He defeated a huge snarling behemoth, tore out its evil heart with his bare hands, and you can relive the moment in your hero's coloring handbook. At least Coglins know how to appreciate the heroes of the past. Unlikely. They seem to be more into piles of garbage and lumber held together by yarn. These artfully majestic homages to the ancient heroes serve as a good place to sit down for a while and get some rest. Approach the statue to save your progress. Interact with it to restore your hero's health. However, be aware that this will also respawn all nearby enemies. But nearby enemies will respawn. Yeah, sure, whatevs. Not going backwards. Wait, could it be? The peppermint puffer! It's even more majestic than I imagined. Success smells like peppermint! It'll be like eating breakfast, dessert, and brushing your teeth at the same time. We're not gonna... You know what? Let's just grab it and get out of here. Just like the grinding gears of endless time, our heroes halted to catch their breath. With their peppermint perfume prize in hand, they readied their swords. Hands off! This peppermint puffer will clean out the mold from the funnel in the old well. We're helping the entire village. You need to dry it in one whole piece to extract all. Whoa, did you hear that? Well, I can't help it. This sweet and crisp scent makes me hungrier by the second. I don't think it was your belly. Oh dear. Well, I know what you're going to say, but imagine how much stew we could. Eee! Mud mushrooms. Who dare steal Goldfish's beautiful mushrooms? Easy there, Chief. We were just here to pick some of these unsuspecting innocent unsuspecting innocent mushrooms? Ravagers. I'm not a ravager. I'm an alchemist. Grumpus doesn't care. Grumpus will teach you not to plunder nature. Damage comes from 5 elementals: physical, fire, frost, storm, and arcane. A card's damage type is shown on the card. This music's kinda kicking here. Some enemies have natural resistance or weaknesses to certain elements, and some cards can raise or lower elemental defense. Use the right card to maximize the damage you deal. Boom, 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 boom. Break it down. Break it down. Some cards inflict status conditions. These are negative effects that linger on the target for several turns. For example, poison makes the victim take damage at the end of each turn. Fortunately, most conditions go away on their own after a few turns. You can review a list of all conditions from the compendium menu. Now we return you back to your originally scheduled rock and roll concert. Holy crapoli's got like 600 hit points. Man, nothing wrong with that. Ouch. If one of your heroes falls to 0 health, that hero is scrapped. If all active heroes become scrapped, game over. Cards belonging to a scrapped hero become useless and waste space in your hand. Make sure to redraw those cards. Scrapped heroes are repaired after each fight, but health is otherwise not restored. You can heal during battle using certain cards, but that can be tricky. Visit a hero statue, use a recover item to restore health outside of combat. Oh, what shall we use here? Chopping down the mushrooms. Chopping down the mushrooms. Gonna make some stew. Make some stew tonight after we cut them down with all of our might. It's the mushroom song. Everybody who's here, sing along to the mushroom song. He's big and tender and juicy. Let's all sing along to the mushroom song. Here we go now. Break it down. Mushroom power. Break it down, down, down. Mushroom power. Yum, yum, yum. Mushroom power. Oh, I love electric guitar. Oh, he's got cute, tiny little mushrooms. Oh, that's so cute. Who's the cute little mushroom? Break it down now. Break it down now. Ba-da-ba-doopy-doopy-doopy-doopy-doo. Should be like talking. That's what streamers do. But you know, this music's so good. Gonna hit him with a Brave Buster. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Huzzah! Huzzah! Whack. Whack. It's gonna keep chomping that mushroom down to size. Oh, he called forth a couple more tiny little greeters. Isn't they so cute? I think they're so cute. Oh, well, hell, we got a flame wave. Let's take that one back and flame wave them all. I'll teach you to mess with me. Oh, weak to fire damage. Quaint. Ouch. That hurts. What do we get? Let's see here. I think I'm down to like 200 hit points now. 179. That poison does hurt. Luckily, that shield seems to absorb the poison. Do love myself some good old-fashioned rock. Oh, call you little mushroom family. It's not going to help you. Tell you what, though, that poison might help you. Oof, that hurt. Aw, little cute poundy mushroom. Whack. I like the gears that level up. That's pretty cute. Ha! Didn't even break a sweat. I'll be accepted into the guild in no time. I'd let you tag along to the forest and you turn it into a frickin' fight club. Hey, you want to experience nature hands-on, right? I say we stuff our bags full of mushrooms and get back to the village. Things I do for learning. Oh, 67% treasure. I missed a treasure chest.
Chapter 2. The Village of Goose Buckets.
And that's why I told you a million times already, you should never stroke a duck against the wind. But it was so cute and fluffy and a wagon! A fluffy wagon duck. Wow, I've never seen a wagon like that before. I wonder whose it is. Was I here earlier? Wouldn't hurt to look, I suppose. Hello? Hello? Anyone in there? Maybe they're out. A knight errant knocking on an old woman's wagon this early in the morning. Sorry to disturb. We were just curious. You're totally a wise old woman, right? Oh, do you hand out quests? Because I'm more than ready for... No, I'm afraid I'm just a plain old traveling shopkeeper, and the shop's not quite open yet. Oh, I've been on a mission from the ancient gods, and we've been plucking mushrooms. Excuse my friend, we didn't mean to bother you. Oh, no, not at all. In fact, what sort of merchant would I be if I let you leave without a small sample? Whew! A tribute from a wise elder! Lower all foes' stats strength by 1 grade for 3 turns. Deals 120 magic as frost damage to one foe and equal amount to another random foe. Just the thing for a pair young of go-getters such as yourself, I should think. Farewell, and make sure to visit my shop in town later, once that ruckus is over with. What a nice old lady. Yes, but what does she mean by ruckus, though? Deck building. You've received a bunch of brand new punch cards. How nice. To use them in battle, you'll need to pay a visit to the deck building screen and put them in your punch card deck. Try going to pause menu using the controls shown before or below or something. Go to your deck. The deck building screen lets you edit your hero's punch card deck. To the left is a folder containing all your collected cards. Right now your collection is pretty meager. But don't worry, you'll find many more punch cards on your adventure. On the right is the hero's deck of cards available in battle. You can add cards to the deck by selecting them in your card folder and remove cards from the deck by selecting them in the deck list. Each hero must have exactly 8 cards in their deck. Keeping your deck up to date is the key to being successful in battle, so be sure to check out this screen whenever you find a new card. So how's everyone doing tonight? If you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Phil, aka JCServant. This is an episode of JCServant Plays. This one is SteamWorld's Quest Hand of Gilgamesh, as you can see right there on the screen. Been a lot of action and excitement so far, so I haven't had much chance to do a lot of chit-chat, but welcome aboard. Let's see, we got a Heroic Strike, we got a Brave Buster. That's all they have anyways. We got a right trigger to get over to her. She has some mana barriers, which I like those. She's got some book bashes. We could do less of those. That Creeping Coal looks interesting. The Flame Wave is really kind of cool, but takes 3 gears. Got one of those. Got 1, 2 Flame Pillars. I think I'll take one of these out and put another one of these in. Yeah, that's what I'll do for now. Yeah, I think that's fine, I think. Just thinking through what I want. Yeah. Okay. Back. Back. Ah! I'm adding more cards. No, don't mean to add more cards. Stop it. Back to menu. B. Alright. I'm used to the PlayStation controller. So, Peter, how far are you in Monster Hunter World? What are you hunting? Wait a minute. Something's not right. What are those guild hero types who are supposed to watch the gate? You mean the ones who laughed at us and said, don't get lost in the forest? Maybe Mr. Gaines summoned everyone to the guild club. Once I get my guild membership, I'll honor the code just like Gilgamesh, and we'll strike down injustice with fire! Damn right. Sparks will fly if anyone so much tries to... No! Look at the smoke! Something's burning! Hurry! Let's find out what's going on! In a hurry, you can use the controls to speed up. Wow, that's a fire all right. What happened? We're only gone for a few hours. Look there. There's some commotion going out towards the market square. Let's go check it out. I've done the tutorial story. I should be working towards tempered monsters, but I don't know what I need, so I'm just knocking out optional quests right now. Wait. How do you go from tutorial story towards tempered monsters? What do you mean tutorial? I mean, you just started the game and you just been through a tutorial. That means you've got a lot of low rank and high rank to go through before you even get to tempered monsters. A decisive victory for the Void. Those dumbbells never knew what hit them. It was us, sir. We hit them, sir. Corporal Budge, as in previous villages, see to it that all guild heroes are wrapped up neatly. Yes, sir. What an honor, sir. We have them all rounded up and ready for transport in no time. No, the story is the tutorial. Oh, stop it. You're so bad. The story is not the tutorial. So, you've been through low rank, high rank, and have you been through Iceborne, which is essentially the master rank stuff yet, or... No, it's not. Stop it, Peter. You're so terrible. I can't take you out anywhere. Gosh. You heard the captain. Let's sweep the village with pride in our chest. A new world order is close at hand. Hey, beat. Okay, yes, finish Iceborne as I know. And Iceborne is master rank. It's not tutorial. This is great. I've always wanted to be an evil henchman. I know the Dark Lord reshuffled the world and all, but why do we need all these guild heroes? Budge and Wigs. Get it, Budge and Wigs. You're one of the new recruits, right? Don't ask any questions, the Void. Why not? Shut up. Haha! You numbskulls are obviously involved with the fire. Prepare to be rightfully punished. More guild heroes. The captain will be pleased. Oh, I'm not really part of the guild yet, but thank you. Prepare to go down, evildoers! Prepare. Yes, Steel tutorial never begins after story. Stop it! You are horrible. I recall going hard on the story with friends. So you're ahead of me on the PC version. Oh. Do you have, Peter, have you been playing Generations Ultimate at all? And I'm sure you've told me before, I have a really bad memory, so I apologize if I'm asking questions I've asked before. I feel my rank numbers are unusual compared to others. Why do you feel your rank numbers are unusual? Real's the only one I've played for reals. I don't have Generations. Well, is there a reason why you haven't played Generations? I think you have a Switch, right? Pretty sure you have a Switch. Did you have a Switch? No, I can't remember if you have a Switch or not. I have such a bad memory. Again, I'm sure you've told me about this before. I do have a Switch. I have a 69 MR and a 101 HR. I don't think that's so odd, actually. That sounds kind of right to me. I mean, I remember my PlayStation version was kind of around that realm. Actually, I don't even know if did I make it up to 100? I think I did. I mean, after I got Iceborne, I think I made it up to 100. I didn't get 100 before Iceborne, that's for sure, in HR. Let's see here. I see Heather's having a much higher HR number. Yeah, I mean, if they got on, you know, the base game before Iceborne came out, there was a lot of people who really did a lot of the end game in the base game, and they could get up to master rank 100. And I want to say, if memory serves correctly, it's a little fuzzy. What would happen? I mean, HR rank. You could get you could it would only show you 100, but it would still keep a track of your XP. So once they lifted up the cap, suddenly you'd be much higher, like when you got Iceborne or something, or when they raised it at some point. I can't remember what happened because I was never that high. But I mean, it was just kind of. I mean, after a certain point, it's just a number, just to say, hey, I played a game a lot more hours than you have. Um, but there was one optional quest that kicks in with base Monster Hunter World. Once you got to like certain thresholds, like 60 and 100, you'd unlock a couple of like two tempered Kirins at the same time who want to take the sharp points of their horns and stick them up where the sun doesn't shine because one Kirin isn't enough fun. That'll teach them not to play with fire. And did you hear? They thought I was a guild hero. Speaking of which, where are the guild heroes? They should have taken care of those goons right from the start. Someone's coming. On guard, you pyromaniacs. Wait, it's Galileo. You big grouch, why didn't you come with us to the forest? We met this giant mushroom and found a cool wagon with a... Never mind that. What the heck happened here? Huh. How would I know? And what's with the people anyway? I just came from the baker and he was carried behind the counter with his eyes shut real hard. He kept saying, take what you want, just don't hurt me. That's terrible. Did he say anything about what's going on? Nah, I won't bother him. Figured I'd play along. Fresh buns, anyone? Breakfast, finally, gimme! That's just... you mean you didn't hear anything? Nope, been getting all things out of the basement all morning. I fine-tuned my water pressure and shifted this nozzle for the water to squirt in more. Alright, we have to hurry. It looks like the smoke is thick over at Town Hall. When you say we, you mean all three of us, so get a move on. Woo, get these coming threes. I should have stayed in bed. This homebody Galileo. This homebody craftsman struggles to find good reason to leave his mother's basement. He won't offer assistance freely, but he may bicker and brawl. But when it comes to the crunch, you can always trust him to be there for a friend. Okay, let's see what you're saying here. I think that maybe they spent more time in the base game before I start. Yeah, exactly. That's probably what it means. That's exactly what it means. I would think. Fountain of Scout badge. Oh, right. So why haven't you played Generations? Why haven't you grabbed that and played that yet, since you like Monster Hunter World so much? And while he's typing that response, is anybody else on the thing today a Monster Hunter fan? Ooh, new cards. You have gained the ability to use Heroic Chains. If you play at least 3 cards from the same hero in the same turn, you'll perform a Heroic Chain, adding a follow-up effect at the end of the chain. The effect depends on the weapon the hero has equipped, so look around for weapons with chain effects that match your playstyle. So, if we do Bravado, Heroic Strike, and Heroic Strike, we'll get Chain! Oh, wackadoodle. Oh, he heals himself. How rude. To be honest, I haven't looked at much. World was already a huge learning curve for me. It being my first Monster Hunter. It took me a long time to understand the game loop. Yeah, and that's I did like a short video on the Monster Hunter game loop for a friend. It's here on the Twitch thing. I think I saved it. I probably shouldn't have, but I should do a better one. But yeah, Monster Hunter World's got bit of a learning curve to it, no doubt. It doesn't tutorialize everything, and then the older ones though make it look easy by comparison. They have worse tutorials, and if any, and they have a deeper, more complicated crafting and weapon systems and things like that. So that's where I used YouTube a lot, to be honest. That's how I learned Monster Hunter 4 was through YouTube videos with Pro Jared. Let's see. You can use recover items in battle by accessing the battle menu, selecting battery items. You can also inspect foes to learn more about their weaknesses and active effects, as well as retreat. The battle isn't going your way, although retreat means you forfeit playing cards that turn. Still, sometimes discretion is a better part of value. Let's see here. We have Steam Punch and Mending cards, which mends a whole lot. It's like a big cleric, really. I don't really need a bunch of healing, but let's see what happens if you chain up. You get Guardian. Okay. I love to see that video of yours. It's in our Twitch archives. Let me just see if I can find let me just see if I can find it real fast, because it was really should be easy for me to pull up real quick. One second. This will just take a moment. Videos. We go for our highlights. And I mean, I was just really a quick overview. It wasn't going too much into mechanics. It was just kind of showing off, hey, this is what makes, Monster Hunter, kind of awesome. Oh no, yeah, actually I deleted it today, I think. Because I was like, I just did that real quick for a friend. Yeah, I think I deleted it. Now I think about it. Sorry about that. Let me just see if it made it over to YouTube somehow. I doubt it. Oh yeah, no, it's over on YouTube. What do you know? Haha. Let's see here. Let me just copy the URL for you, and we'll pop that into chat. There you go. Creeping Cold, Steam Punch, Book Bash, Mana Barrier. Barrier Field. It wasn't really a tutorial video. I could certainly do Monster Hunter tutorial videos. I really love the game. I know it pretty well. But I'm not the best at the combos. I never have been. I just get in there to have fun. I've never become like a master. I definitely have seen much better. Like you can watch people, play Monster Hunter who can kill, some of these tougher monsters in just a matter of moments. That would not be me. So, Um, but I mean, it's just as far as the basics, getting somebody through basics. I mean, I played all the way through Master Rank. I've done some of the post-in stuff, but there's people who've done tutorial videos really, really well. So I usually just refer to those people. I was just really impressed with Pro Jared's because he had done his videos on Monster Hunter 4. So you have to have a pretty special graphics card set up to even capture a 3DS. Let's smack him with the book. Bravado, Heroic and Striking, Brave Buster, and Chain it up. I was tempted to another time to buy a 3DS mod for streaming. It's my favorite console for a while. I still love it. I mean, to me, it's much more portable than a Switch for taking on the go and stuff like that day to day. And there's so much on it. It's so many good RPGs. It's so well done. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Steam Punch, Mint, Wrecking Ball, Steam Punch, Mint, and Shields up. Raises an ally's defense. I know I'm going to regret that later. But Wrecking Ball times 2, Wrecking Ball times 3. Oh, that takes 3 spot. Let's make you just more of a punchy person for now, okay? And we'll put back in the second Mend. We'll take out that and add that. Oh, but this one lowers physical defense. Wrecking Ball lowers physical defense. Oh, that's the argument for Wrecking Ball. That'll work. You don't have enough. How do I not have enough cards? There's one. Oh, I'm taking out cards somehow. Oh, well, that's weird. I'm used to like clicking over here to add cards to a deck, like Hearthstone, and that's actually taking them out. Oh, the deck's on the right, not on the left. Ugh, I'm so dense. I don't even know what I was thinking there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1. All right, there we go. Well, good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Do a couple of those, a couple of those, a couple of those, one of those, and one of those. All right. Let me just fix him too. Shout. Lowers all forward strength for 3 turns. Seems kind of like a good card to have. And Bravado. Some Heroic Strikes. And some Brave Busters. Yeah. Alright. There we go. So we slash everything. Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, I would love to be able... Could you imagine if I could, like, stream Etrian Odyssey? Ugh. That's kind of slow, though. I don't know if people would get bored. The combat system is a little methodically paced and, you know, drawing the map and stuff. But it takes hours to get through it, hours and hours to get through an Etrian Odyssey. So I don't know if that makes for a good streaming or not. Baker and Claire, are you alright? I think so. I hit behind my counter as soon as the commotion started. Well, I finally got my nerves sorted out for a quick peek. Everybody was gone and the village was on fire. And if that wasn't enough, they stole my freshly baked buns. What a lousy thing to do. Yeah, such animals. What about the other villagers or the guild heroes? Last I saw before ducking down was a group of folks heading to the tavern. I'm sure everyone's fine. Still, I feel a bit relieved that my parents decided to visit my aunt this week. Yeah, I'm not too worried about my mom either. I booby-trapped the whole house from the attic down to the basement. Sounds perfectly safe. Well, and the 3DS is home of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which Wheels and I consider to be the best Monster Hunter so far. Like Generations, and Generations nice that it's on the Switch and everybody has a Switch, so you're going to find more players on it. But we're huge fans of 4 Ultimate. Just so well done. What do we have here? We have things that require things, but we're out of things. So we'll beat them up with regular cards and build up our strength. Pokety lay poke poke. Of course, if you're going to get your 2 bin cards, you're going to get them at the same time. Because, of course, why wouldn't you? Let's see, there was a button for discard. Is that why? We got a creeping cold, and a flame wave. Alright, and a mana barrier. Perfect. Chain it up. Ah. The cold that builds on top of the cold. Oh, if you hold down the shoulder button, that combat animation steps up. Good to know. All right. We're going to throw this guy away and throw this guy away. All right. It's time for some shouting and some Brave Busters, followed up by a Heroic Strike. Combo! So is anybody playing Cyberpunk? Oh, and by the way, Peter, I think we before I leave Monster Hunter conversation, probably talked about this before, but feel free to post, on our Monster Hunter channel. We've organized Monster Hunter Ultimate Friday nights, but I've had a couple people ask me about playing World and playing World on the PC, and Chris brought it up. And last night, was it? I don't know if you were on when he was talking about that. And I'm like, hey, I'm fine with it. If somebody else will organize it, I already do. I organize Generations night. If somebody else wants to organize a Monster Hunter World PC night, or something, I'm sure if you post in the channel, you'll get a hunter or two to join you. And I might join you if it's not on the night that I'm streaming. And hell, if it's not on my stream, maybe I'll stream us hunting if the channel's open. But I just don't want to be the one to organize it because I already got enough on my plate. The organizer tends to have to be there, or it looks kind of silly. And I may not be able to make it. Rewards. Feel the power of rewards. Got him from behind. Oh, we could actually use that guy. Let's get rid of this one. That gives us a Heroic Strike. So we can shout on these guys, then we can Heroic Strike them. Oh, but a Brave Buster requires 2 and a shout doesn't give you 1. How rude. Anyways, anybody playing Cyberpunk? 2077. Anybody playing that? Oh, that's cheating. Enemies shouldn't be able to heal themselves. I definitely feel like when an enemy heals himself, that's completely cheating. I bought it and played past the first act or so. Moogle says, Cyberpunk isn't my thing really, so not me. Why is it not your thing, Moogle? Curious. Peter says, but my CPU is lacking again, so I put it on hold. But your computer's handling Monster Hunter? Is it that much more demanding than Monster Hunter? Or is it just that less flexible? Like it doesn't go down that low in settings like Monster Hunter might. Mint. Let us... what do we want to do here? We want to get rid of that. There we go. We're going to do some punches in the front. And some mending. Watch the action unfurl. The setting of that, or that kind of gameplay. Oh yeah, I think you said before, Moogle, that you prefer that your RPGs are more fantasy oriented, if I'm not mistaken, right? I believe that Cyberpunk is more demanding. Wow, that's impressive. Monster Hunter just looks so freaking good. But it was designed and optimized to run, on a PlayStation 4 original, and it runs a little better on the Pro, of course. But it just kind of goes to show you. Obviously, I think with Cyberpunk, there's no question as to how poorly optimized, it probably was. So they probably just, they most of these games now are optimized to work on a console. When they come to a high-power computer, they just shine even more when they're optimized well. It's clear they didn't bother with any of that. Fantasy or with a magic supernatural twist. So do you like, Moogle, do you like, what's it called? Oh, it's on tip of my tongue. I have to Google it up real quick. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. Ugh. Ugh, 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 ugh. Oh, it's like, I know I'm gonna find it. Like Shadowrun games. Shadowrun. What do you think of Shadowrun? Google. Shadowrun's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. Shields up. Shields up, Ironbringers. Shout out there to somebody. Wackadoodle. Ouch. I feel like that's cheating. Yeah, Shadowrun is a nice combo of tech and mysticism, right? I feel like it's very creative. I've always been fascinated with it. I haven't really played a game. I should add that to the list. I haven't really played a game in that setting. I've got it. I kickstarted it, I think. But yeah. Let's see. We have nothing. We have nothing, we have nothing, we have nothing. And Fire Pillar. Stay dead. I might have missed some talks here and there. My volume was too loud during the monster fight. I worked it out now, though. Let's see here. Yeah, I might have mentioned the Monster Hunter 4 and the 3DS and the Switch, but other than that, oh, I was just telling you, you should consider organizing a Monster Hunter night over on our Monster Hunter channel on our Discord because for Monster Hunter World on the PC, because I know there's interest in it. I mentioned that, like Chris was asking me about it, and I'm like, dude, I'm already in charge of Monster Hunter Generation Friday nights on the Switch. I don't want to be in charge of another one, but if somebody else puts it together, I might join if it's on a night I'm not streaming. That's pretty much, I think, what I was going over. And yeah, you can have some people for a hunt, maybe. Now, if I join, I'm still on the PC version. I'm still low rank. No, I might be high rank, but I'm not Iceborne. I am not Iceborne. Organizing just means going on to the Discord Monster Hunter channel saying, hey guys, who wants to get together? You know, whatever night works for you, right? Night and time. This day, this time. Looking for some hunters. Come join me. And then, you know, you show up and you communicate with them. And we have a Discord voice channel for multiplayer games. I had Anna set up one just for us because we were monster hunting. So everyone can just join in that Discord channel. They can. You have Iceborne on the console set. Yeah, I've got Iceborne on the console. I could get on the computer. I may have it on the computer. I don't remember. But the whole point is, like, on the computer anyways, I'm still down at high rank. We need to grind up a bit. Not too much, because they do, if you get Iceborne, they do give you the armor that's supposed to help you speed through the high rank real quick. So I would just need to go through the story quest. And I don't know how far I am on that, honestly, because it's been a while since I played PC. I bought it. I just bought it to play with my brother, and I don't know where we fell out of tune at. But once he was, I think he got distracted with something else, and I had no burning desire to play it solo on the PC when I have it on the PlayStation. I will say, my PC loads a million times faster because I have a solid state drive, and oh my gosh, on a solid state drive, so buttery smooth compared to the PlayStation. It's so nice just being able to, like, say, start a hunt and boom, you're there, instead of waiting for literally 30-45 seconds for the PlayStation to load it up. But with all that being said, I have spent hundreds of hours on the PlayStation version, so 30-second, 45-second load times, you know, for each hunt, which, you know, hunts will run 15 minutes or so, versus sinking in another, you know, 150 hours of gameplay, or 100 hours at least, to kind of, and so I get on the PC version, like, oh, I don't have this yet, oh, I don't have this yet, oh, and I haven't even thought about all the optional quests I need to do to unlock, like, proper things in the kitchen and the tree and stuff. Like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, so, is it just me, or is it getting hotter? Half the village is on fire, of course it's hot. The smoke is thicker this way. We're getting closer to town hall. Found a repair volume 2. I'm going to just take a few moments break. I will be right back. I am back. Did the intro again, just for those who might have missed it. Welcome. You've jumped into the middle of tonight's JCServant Plays. My name is Phil, aka JCServant, with RPGamer.com. And playing through SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh tonight. This is the first part. Just started this an hour and a half ago, so we're still in the early game. Planning on doing a complete playthrough of this particular title. I don't always do complete playthroughs. I think with Demons or Dark Souls 2, that's on the docket. That will definitely not be a complete playthrough. It'll be like if you get through the first boss. I'll be honest with you. I'm just horrible at that game. You see that child had left his list of his influence. How's that, Moogle? Let's see that. Let me respond. You're rhyming the intro, right? I know, it is definitely, yeah, definitely left an influence. Now every intro has to rhyme. No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, too funny. What? Why aren't you with the other prisoners? Bah, those incompetent tin heads. They're soiling the reputation of the Void Army. The Void Army? What exactly are you up to here? Besides burn down the town hall, obviously. I don't answer any guild scum. I do the bidding of the Dark Lord, whose sabotage you're not even worthy of abolishing. The Dark Lord? Never heard of him. You could do the bidding of a goat for all I care. If you don't spill the beans, we'll spill them for you. Anyways, I was asking about Cyberpunk because I had a friend who played it, and he had some interesting thoughts on it. He said he had played through a complete playthrough. He was working on a second playthrough, and he said that yeah, on the PC version, anyways, there's still bugs, lots of bugs, and they caused some problems. He had audio cracking, mobs moving around erratically, walking around in the T formation with their arms stuck out, you know, things like that. And it was clearly unoptimized. Speaking of, you know, computer issues, you know, he actually used that word unoptimized. So I don't think you're the only one there, Peter, and stuff. Then let's see here. He also thinks that the vehicles are kind of broken too, and not, you know, they're just horrible to drive. But I said, then why are you playing a second playthrough? And he's like, well, he likes the story a lot. He says there's a lot of great interactions, and these could change depending on choices that you make. That freedom of choice and not knowing how it's going to work out a second time if you make different choices intrigues him greatly. And he said the world looks great. The people, like a lot of the characters, look like they're really truly alive. There's a lot of face capturing and stuff to make them look really, really good. And he likes that the missions really allow for a variety of different approaches. Lots of different approaches there. So he liked that. But he did say, he also said that he also felt that the story wasn't too political or anything. Which, in today's age, that has, you know, that's kind of a bonus, because it's not always a given. My cat just knows this guy had 770 hit points. Drive-by. Oh, that's not very nice. So those are some thoughts, you know, from him that I thought I would share. Just thought I'd share that. Just writing down a little note on something here. I like to take notes as I'm playing. Though I haven't gotten far, I'm also hoping I'd like it enough to play a second time too. Well, you know, he definitely seemed like he likes it, and he doesn't like every game out there, so I thought it was worth sharing with you guys. I always like to hear your thoughts, and if you want, you know, if you share your thoughts on here, I will read them out loud so other people can hear them, whether it's about this or any other game you're playing. If you want to talk about it, I love talking about games on this. You're not hijacking my playthrough by talking about another game that's you're currently playing through and you want to share with us, especially if it's an RPG. We're all into RPGs here, so you're definitely not taking the cart off the rails by discussing those. I can only safely say that I like the gunplay. I haven't gotten far enough. I'm also hoping, says Hero Harmony, Peter, I'm also hoping that I like it up to play a second time. We'll see. We'll see. It is interesting to me that some of the people that complained and turned in for a refund and also put in a lot of time into it, so But I have no doubt that there's a lot of bugs, even in the PC version, and some people are going to be a lot more upset about that than others, and they have every right to be. So I don't want to take away from them either. And then, of course, if you did the console version, you got a steaming, nasty mess. Surely you have noticed that I'm always talking about another game in here, haha. Well, speaking of, I mentioned this last night off the record, but it was off the record. But on the list of games that I had on that spreadsheet to do, we took out Boot Hill and Boot Hill 2, and I've replaced it with Saga Scarlet Graces. So that's going to be the next game I play through after SteamWorld Heist here. So you got that to look forward to. Don't want to do this, don't want to do this, don't want to do this. We'll do that. We'll do that. Saga Scarlet Graces. And that's another game that Mr. Wheels likes, and I have played about a dozen hours on my Switch, so I like it as well. I'll have to start over in order to play it on here, which is fine because it's supposed to be a full Let's Play anyway, so that's a good way to go. So we'll be doing that. Have any of y'all played any Saga games before? If so, what are your thoughts on them? As we are going through this boss fight here. Trying to suck our health, apparently. Being a rude boss mob. What do we have here? We got Bravado, we got Heroic Strike, we got a Shout. Anybody playing Saga? I guess no one's played any Saga games. So, I like, Saga games are very interesting to me. If you know me, I of course I love a good story in my RPG, but primarily I'm pulled into RPGs for the gameplay, the tactical fight, the building up of a party, getting skills over time, the crunch, as it were, to a degree. I just like that feeling that you grew a party up and stuff, and thought your way through a tough fight, and built up, like I said, build a party, all this stuff. So, back in the 80s or something like that, I had a board game that was essentially an RPG, but just the exploring and combat part. And combat was resolved with simple dice rolls. As you went into rooms, you had to decide how to take care of the traps that were there first, and then you had to deal with the monsters. And if you were successful, then you could have the treasures in the room, or you could retreat out, turn all the cards over, and somebody else could have a crack at that room. You were trying to beat it before everybody else, so leaving good stuff for other people not always the smartest thing to do. But oh, Min takes 2. Who would have guessed? Let's give her a shield then. She's getting picked on a lot. But later on, we got pen and paper RPGs and gold box RPGs, computer RPGs, and everything else that had these big stories. There was always these big stories mixed in with everything else. That's what role-playing games are. But I never forgot this idea of like this open randomized adventure. Also, all the rooms with the monster stuff, they were all randomized because you shuffle these cards and you deal them into the rooms. So you never knew what you were going to get in a room until you got there. But it was just, you had to kind of think on the fly. Your character could improve over time based on, what kind of monsters you beat up. So there was strategy, too, in watching what your friends did and what was in those rooms. I thought it was pretty cool. And I have nothing against. I love full-blown RPGs with good stories and everything else. But sometimes I just want a simpler experience that just focuses on the combat and the mechanics. And that's what you get a lot, for the most part, with roguelikes. That's one of the reasons I'm a fan of roguelikes. But I remember those old board games. Because the board games, would also have overworld and everything else. And so To me, that's what saga games are. There's usually some storyline in there, but they're really focused on the essence of building up a party, understanding the game mechanics, and building up from there. I don't even know who he's going to heal there. Okay. Who are you going to heal? Okay, good. That's who I want him to heal. I'm also trying to figure out if there is an RPG I want to play weekly. So what do you mean play weekly? Do you mean like stream weekly or once a week by yourself? 1 hour stream, a 3 hour stream? Give me some detail there, Peter. Let's talk through this. It's the kind of stuff I like to talk about. I'm a nerd. I have no life outside of talking about what we're doing with games. I see it's a mana barrier. Nope, don't want to use that actually. We want to do... of course you would. Of course you would. Alright, fine. We'll bake our cake with what we got. Yeah, I'm sneaky about not directly promoting it myself. That's what you have me here for, Peter. I'm here. Speaking of, let us take a moment to point out Hero Harmony in the channel. If you click on his name, it'll take you to his Twitch page. He does a lot of cool streaming. I like to watch him whenever I can. In fact, I wonder if he'll let me do this shout out thingy in the chat. Hero Harmony. I can't even spell your name properly. Harmony. No, that doesn't work. I forget how what's his name does it. Is it shout out? How does he do it? Hero Harmony. There we go. Ha ha. Ha ha. I can be smart sometimes. But definitely follow our good friend Peter, aka Hero Harmony, over in his channel. He has been streaming Satisfactory, where he has built up this obscenely large factory setup. It is absolutely insane. If you followed me long enough, you heard me talk about Factorio, and maybe one day I'll do a stream on my own personal channel of what my factory looks like and stuff, my latest creation, and walk you through that, especially if Peter's interested and he's going to watch. But his factory is much more impressive because it's absolutely huge and it's in 3D. So definitely go and check him out. But Peter, let's see, you said I restart Star Ocean Last Hope, a game in which I finished on 360 before, but I wasn't able to appreciate it, so I was following a guide this time around. Okay, so wait, you've already started another playthrough of Star Ocean, and have you been streaming it or no? And is that on the PC? So many questions I have. These battles are kind of long. I don't understand why the bosses need 770 hit points. I don't know if I want to return to it. I was kind of forced. It was kind of forced. Now I'm eyeballing Battle Chasers since I backed it and never played a single bit. I stopped streaming it about 2 months ago. Why did you stop streaming it just because you didn't like it and you weren't having a good time, or was there another reason? This guy can die now. He's not just a boss with 770 hit points, he's a boss who heals himself. Because somehow that's okay. Gonna remind everybody to follow us at rpgamer.com, your source for news, reviews, podcasts, and home to the best gaming community on the net. Our links are down, the information, rpgamer.com/Discord right there at the bottom. At Twitter, follow RP Gamer for all of our newest stuff that's going on. And if you want to keep up with my streams, and you're not for some odd reason following us here on Twitch, hit me up on Twitter at JCServant. I always announce there whenever I stream. I do. I make it a point to. Okay. I was having an okay time with it, I suppose. Maybe it's that sunk cost in a playthrough. Buying the game a second time on PC was more of an act of supporting more RPGs to come to PC. I have done that a lot, Peter. Don't feel bad. Like, I have personally supported plenty of games that because especially when they started releasing turn-based games again, turn-based tactical games again. Started with like Divinity Original Sin, Wasteland 3. I was just so excited to see them going back to turn-based. I am not a fan of the pause and play combat system that dominated the RPG landscape for AAA RPG titles on the PC. It was between that and third person, RPG shooters like Fallout 3. I wanted grid-based, turn-based, type of RPGs, or at least turn-based RPGs. So I kickstarted them, and I didn't play all of them or play them all the way because I've had other things going on. But I wanted to support them, so I kickstarted them. So don't feel bad. I've done the same thing, and stuff. But there's definitely times in my life where I started playing a game and I didn't get through it, and then years down the road I was like, I need to give that one a fair chance. Use an FAQ, at the place where I got stuck, so it doesn't discourage me, etc., etc. And I've gotten through a game and really appreciated it. There's other times, especially if it's more recent, I just let it go. If a game didn't capture me and get my attention, I've got 800 million games in my backlog. I'm okay with Anna's 5-hour rule. If a game doesn't grab you in 5 hours, you go ahead and you move on. Especially if you're streaming it. I feel like if you're streaming it, for me anyways, personally, this is personal, there's that extra pressure to finish the game because I got people watching. And if I still want to quit it with that additional, it's kind of like balancing the scales, right? Like normally I like a game which bends it this way, but then I start running into frustrations, if the game has some difficulty spikes or requires a ton of grinding or whatever, and I don't like the combat system. And the scale goes back and forth. And I feel like having people watch me and stream puts more weight, this way. So if I still feel like it's over here, then I know I don't like the game. It's okay to cut your losses and move on to the next one. And I'm telling y'all, I already kind of got a good guess based on reviews and what I've heard, not to mention difficulty curves of which games I'm going to be doing complete playthroughs of and which ones I'm not. But I still reserve the right. If I'm playing through a game and I'm not feeling it, I almost quit Dragon Age Origins. Kind of glad you guys helped me through it last night because now I feel better about it again. But I have no problem cutting a game and moving on. We pay to be entertained. If a game's not entertaining, you move on. Hold on one second. Let me read this before I continue. If there's one thing I've learned from the army, it's that good retreat covers a bad loss. Squeak, 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 squeak. Level up? Yeah, you should level up. That battle took forever. Get back here, you Tweety bird! Come on, let's go after him. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the town is on fire. All right, I guess we should put out those fires. Still, we kicked his can real good. With the relative safety restored to the village of Goose Bucket, our expanded ensemble set off for the local chapter of the Heroes Guild to find out what the heck is going on. You can now choose to revisit previous chapters from the screen in order to collect treasure you might have missed or gain some more experience in fighting monsters. When you're ready to continue, simply choose the latest available chapter to continue the story. Oh, cute. It has like built-in grinding if you want. I did miss a chest there. I don't know if I'm going to go and do it again or not, though, just to get those chests. Probably not. Let's just see what happens next and see if I have a hard time.
Chapter 3. Off to see the heroes.
Okay, I think that was the last of the fires. Oh, I feel like a wrung out piece of cloth. It was awesome, Galileo. Giving it all to the last drop. That's what being a hero is all about. Not everyone obsesses about that stuff as much as you do, you know. I'm taking a nap. Just wake me up when dinner's ready. There's no time to rest. We gotta find out where the guild heroes are. As much as I would like to not get dragged into another of Armorly's adventures, she is right. The guild heroes are missing. The town almost burned to the ground. Not to mention invaded army led by some sort of dark lord. Oh, maybe someone's still at the guild club. That's a good idea. And the fastest way there is... I am not walking through the apple orchard again. Last time I got stung 9 times. The bees are annoying, but we don't have any time to spare. Let's go. Dogged by misfortune. Let's see here. Exactly. I've been thinking of Lavana's article. I needed to start making a list, I think. I did a little cleaning of my Steam library today during work hours. I was picking a number of games in to put away or finish category. Dude, I tell you what, just for you, because I know no one else is watching right now. Just for you. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. I will show you. Oh, that's not my Steam button. Let me pull my Steam button. Steam. I did this over Christmas break. I was at my folks' house and I had some time to clear. But, you know, I love it when you just want to open up Steam real quick and it's like, verifying your install. Let's put some, you know, like just open up Steam. Stop giving me a hard time. But why is it so small? Take up the whole screen, dangnabbit. All right. Anyways, if you go to my library here, I categorized my games into, you know, different genres and stuff. The way I classify genres, everyone's different. Of course, Steam has its filter on its own genre, so that's easy to do if you want to see what it thinks are RPGs and stuff. But you can see here I've got a category called Do Not Like. And I got 71 games in there that are either outdated or I just no longer like for whatever reason, or I'm done with them, you know? So there you go. All the games Phil is done with or doesn't like. Like I'm past Magic Apes. It's a good game. If you like Magic, you'll like these games. But I've moved on to better single player card. I'm not a competitive player, so Magic's not my cup of jam anymore. But back in the day, even as there wasn't a lot of single player options for Magic games, I remember Magic the Planeswalker originally on PC. I used to love that. So I did Magic the Might and Magic 10 for a live stream a while back, and I got through it for a number of hours, and it started out liking it, but after a while, I didn't like the design of it, and now it's in the do not like list. So Super Meat Boy, really excellent game by most people's standards, but I am not a twitchy action platformer person, so it's in the do not like. So if y'all are interested, I'll be happy to do a walkthrough of my library and my thoughts on these games and stuff. But that could take a while because I mean, just my do not like list is 71 games, and I got lots and lots of games in the entire list. But yeah, there you go, little something something. Little thoughts, kind of the same thing there, bud. Can we go in these rooms, these buildings? Nope, guess not. Let me edit this deck really quick because I feel like we could use a bit more Steam Punch and maybe a little bit less repair. And another, do I want another? I forgot 2 book bashes. In fact, I think I'd rather have a book bash than another mana barrier. So let's do that. And on him, let's do, let's take away one of these and add another one. No, let me do another heroic strike, I think. There we go. Okay, see their strength is what their physical attacks do. Okay. Got a scout badge. What's that? The mark of inspiring hero. Oh, we should equip that. Let's see here. True. Hey there, there's that wagon again. Practical. Could we go and see if she's open for business? I'm a bit curious as well. Yes, let's spend some of our hard-earned loot. Hello, mysterious shopkeeping lady. Are you in? Why, if it isn't a young Knights of the Wood and her scholarly friend. A fair bit worse for wear since we last met, though you seem to have picked up a friend along the way. And this is some collection of stuff you got here. Oh, it's nothing so grand as a collection. Trifles, bubbles, and knickknacks. Merely whatever odds and ends an old woman has managed to lay her paws on, that's all. How about the swords? I like swords. I'm sure you'll find something you like and feel free to browse. Mysterious Charlie Merchant can provide a number of services besides buying new equipment and supplies. You can also create new cards for heroes as well as upgrade existing ones. The merchant inventory grows over time, so check in with her whenever you happen to cross her. Crafting, fine. Craft card screen. You can craft new cards by spending materials. When crafting a card, you'll get between 1 and 4 copies of the card, depending on the card. You can still choose how many copies you want to actually play with. Craftable cards can't be acquired any other way. New cards will be unlocked for crafting as you progress through the story. So be sure to check out the shop again when you get to a new location. Let's see here. To victory. Raises all strength ally. Intercept deals physical damage to one foe and may make them flinch. What is flinch? Flinch. Target's next card has no effect. Not all cards can be flinched. Oh, that sounds special. Searing Lash. Deals 16 fire damage to one foe. Oh, nice. That's better than Book Bash. And, oh, yeah, that's nice. Now, does... They mention raises one ally's healing power. Poison. That sounds good for bosses. I haven't made nearly as many categories in my library, but I've done some functional ones. Hey, everyone's got their own categorization. There's nothing wrong with that. You do what works for you, right? My categories are extremely subjective. But going back to you and what you're thinking. So, I mean, my recommendation would be if Star Ocean didn't grab you, consider playing something, new that is going to grab you. And what's that going to be? And are you going to stream it is what I'm wondering. Yeah. So play co-op Sims, horror backlog. Yeah. Well, and for me, the to play category is really what's on that streaming list for the most part. I spend a lot of time figuring out what I'm going to play next because I have to make it work with my streaming schedule and the PGXP. But yeah, it's whatever works for ya. Recovery items, accessories, 300 gold. I got 400 gold. It's got a cute little ditty there. I think I want to create this. All right, there we go. How much does it cost to create these? I mean, poison's nice, but it doesn't combo. It doesn't build up steam points. I'll stream for sure. I'm already thinking about how to schedule myself around JC's plays. Well, I mean, and along those lines, that's another thing I was kind of thinking of. I was thinking about changing my schedule just slightly to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly Thursday night so that those nights are in a row. Because right now I'm Saturday, Monday, Wednesday. So I'm thinking I might be able to attract more people if I was just like 4 days in a row during the week. And that doesn't mean I can't do an odd weekend, here and there with a surprise, stream or whatever have you. But I'm still thinking through that and whether that's something I want to do or not. Because that also means tying up a lot of weeknights in a row. So I don't know. Thinking through it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? I don't know. Let's see. Let's exit. Let's change out her deck. Because now we have Searing Lash. We're definitely going to change out these book bashes with new and improved Searing Lash. Let's see how well that goes for a while. We just chop everything. That's always fun. Chop, 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 chop. Oh, you can go over here. Whack. Let's see what we have here. We have some bravado, some heroic strike, and a shout. Heroic shout. All right. And then hero. So what are some other options for you to play? If you don't do Star Ocean, what else can we talk about you playing? Maybe Pathfinder and Kingmaker? I don't know if you saw what I was posting about that in our Discord. Pathfinder. So Pathfinder, while you're working on that, Pathfinder Keymaker. So first of all, Pathfinder, for those who don't know, is a pen and paper RPG. It's essentially Dungeons & Dragons 3.75. It came out after Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 edition by the company Paizo. And it improved on 3.5 in a number of ways. But it also made it even more deeper. Made it more complicated, which is great if that's what you're looking for. But in my experience, after playing many Pathfinder games, it also made it to where mid levels and especially late levels were extremely crunch heavy. The game really rewards min-maxing a lot and really planning out your levels ahead of time, and you end up seeing like the same builds over and over again because there's ways to really build these really super strong, overbroken characters, especially in some of the more mixed settings and the such. So I GM'd a lot of the GM, whatever you want to call it, a lot of those. So imagine my surprise when they announced a computer version. Well, it won't be a surprise. First, they announced an MMO. Which that did not work. The MMO did not work. Then let's see here. I gotta figure out what to do with these guys. Give me 1 second. Let's do a. So they the MMO was just it wasn't gonna work. It just didn't work out at all. Talk about Kickstarter failures and all that other jazz. But later on, what was announced was a single-player game, and I was all excited until they said, and it's going to have pause-and-play combat, like Baldur's Gate. Now, my beef with Baldur's Gate is you take a D&D turn-based system, you force into this pause-and-play, and there's so many things that work out poorly with that because of that. Like the fact you'll start casting a fireball, it'll go off 5 seconds later after everybody has moved all around the board. And it's just no. I've got used to it because that became the operatus de modus for most RPGs of the period. But I really, really wish they would have gone back to turn-based. now you take something that's even deeper and more complicated than D&D 2nd Edition, which is what you get with Baldur's Gate. You're telling me that's going to be pause and play? I mean, one of my frustrations with pause and play is you have to keep pausing every couple of moments. I don't get it. Even playing Dragon Age Origins, which is a simpler combat system, I have to constantly pause to make sure I'm clicking exactly what the skill I want to click on and make sure the spell goes off where I want it to go off on. So why doesn't it just go turn-based? Why? And do one turn at a time. Instead of me pausing, oh, I slipped on the pause for an extra second, I died. I hate that. So I can't, where pause and play works is where the battles are strongly in your party's favor and you're just mopping up, low-level guys. That feels great and moves a lot faster than turn-based where you would have had to go through, each turn. So, so when they said, oh, we're going to make Pathfinder pause and play, I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. That game is even deeper and more complicated. You don't understand. Like in Pathfinder on the tabletop game, what a player can do, especially a decent level player character who's built correctly can do, is he has like a swift action, a quick action, a move action, and a standard action. And then there's one I'm forgetting about. And then there can be interrupts, underneath certain conditions. Those are 4 actions per turn. 4 freaking actions. And under the attack actions, some characters have multiple attacks. So without that, and trying to manage that times 6 party members, because you're controlling the whole party, that's just insane. You'll be pausing every 2 seconds if you truly want to optimize your group and whatever have you. So what ends up happening in those types of games is I just put my fighters on auto. They don't use everything they're supposed to use, but the pen and paper is balanced around that kind of stuff. And so at higher levels, you end up losing a lot. It just makes no sense, and it's frustrating, and I didn't want to waste the time investing. I was so frustrated when they announced that. The game came out, and it had bugs in it. A lot of bugs. And so that ended up giving them a lot of mediocre reviews as a result, and some bad reviews, and some good reviews, but mostly bad reviews. So fast forward to this last year, 2020. They've since patched it up. A lot of people playing it like it a lot. There's one YouTuber, a pretty famous YouTuber that I follow, that did this very thorough video. I think I pasted it on my Twitter or in Discord about how Pathfinder is so good now it even beats some of Larian's offerings, which is saying something. But let's see what Focus does for a second. Raises Coperencia's magic and grants additional draws. Okay, well, I think I like that more than Mana Barrier, so let's do that. But then, and at the same time, though, I wasn't the only one who had issues with the pause and play. The community had made a community mod that allows you to play it turn-based. Now, I'm not a big fan of mods, so I just noted it, but I didn't, rush out, buy the game and download it. But now later on, the company itself, Owlcat Games, has, I don't know if they bought out the mod or if they made up their own, but they basically have gone ahead and put turn-based mode into the game. It might have also been because that's what a lot of these pause and play games have been doing lately. Like, Pillars of Eternity 2, I think, added that in, and another really popular game added in a turn-based mode. But there's been a number of these pause and play guys going back and adding in turn-based modes because they're starting to realize, hey, there is a demand for this. People really do want this. Maybe we should put this in. Just a thought. Okay. So now Pathfinder Kingmaker has turn-based mode. Now I'm excited for it. The only thing that's holding me back from excitement is now I'm doing all these Let's Plays. This is my life for the next year at least. And doing one of those games would take a very, very long time. And I don't know how well people would feel about that being streamed, and how that would also feed into me ever getting an RPG XP done. So there's my story about Pathfinder Kingmaker and my thoughts on that and where I'm at with that. But I'm excited that they get the turn-based mode put in. I just hope I can get around to it one day, because that really is my... I constantly talk. If you know me, my very first YouTube video, or second or third, was one of those, was doing a deep a gamer's experience. Before I did the RP gamer's experience, a gamer's experience on Goldbox Games. It's still up on my personal YouTube channel, and it got thousands of views. It's the only one that gets thousands of views. All my other games get like 12 views. The games from my childhood, but the Goldbox got a lot. But the Goldbox was ahead of its time. It had turn-based tactical combat, and it was glorious. So I'd love to see, more of that, and that's what we're getting now. So Kingmaker Pathfinder Kingmaker on a turn-based mode would be something I should really dive into. And there's a lot of good things for it. They have since upgraded past it and turned it into something that, like I said, some people are saying are better than, or just as good, I won't say better than, but just as good as Divinity Original Sin. So that should be saying something if you're into those types of games, Western RPGs. So now let me read your comments. Sorry I went on that rant. Same. I don't like player-driven pulsing. I tried Tyranny twice because I heard it was a shorter game in the same style. While it has options to autopause for you, many times it's not required. Yeah, and sometimes when I complain about the battle system and those pause and play games, they're like, well, you can put it on, you can set up auto pause. Yes, you can. That still doesn't make it anywhere close to being turn-based. See, here's the deal. In a pen and paper game, it's my wizard's turn. I say I cast Fireball. Now, if you're playing a very old edition of D&D and you're following all the rules strictly, your spell may not go off for a couple of enemy turns. But underneath the newer RPGs, and by newer I mean like 15 years ago newer, the spell would go off pretty much instantly. And then the DM says, okay, where do you want the fireball? And you pick exactly where the fireball is going to go. And of course, you're going to pick it to where it hits your enemies and not your friends. And you can count out the number of squares, and you know exactly who it's going to hit. Boom, fireball goes off. Now, fireballs, you don't have to roll to hit chances. It's magic. It always hits exactly where you wanted it to hit. Unlike your sword, that takes some skill, and you might miss depending on your roll, but you get better at hitting as you level up, but it's always a random chance. But then you get these pause and plays. And even if the computer stops you every 2 seconds because, you've got conditions set or to pause on every player's turn, the problem is, on my wizard's turn, I start casting Fireball. I put the Fireball where I think it's just going to hit the enemies and not me. Assuming it even shows me the outline of the Fireball, because not all the games do, then I might have an accurate representation where it would hit. The problem is, of course, is that as soon as you hit, okay, I've locked in my Fireball spell, the spell needs a few seconds to go off, so everything starts moving again. Everything starts moving again. And then by the time the Fireball goes off, it's not even close to hitting the people you aimed it at, because everything frickin' moved. That's not the spirit of the pen and paper, and it makes being a wizard a lot more difficult. And the guy who was singing the praise of Pathfinder even admitted this. Or one of the other guys. He was like, man, I wouldn't even play a wizard in the real-time original mode that came with the game. But once it went turn-based, it made playing a wizard so much more viable. Because then you could play the class the way it was meant to be played in the design pen and paper. Right? But doing a pause and play gives that class to where nobody wants to play it. So, because it doesn't work as well. You still have to have them, at least one in your party, because there are certain things in the game you're not going to be able to get past if you don't have a magic user. But yeah, no, it's an issue. Let's see here. I did quite enjoy Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, but finished neither. For both, I played with friends, and, says Peter, the more the worse it seems. With 4 players, it just becomes a murder fest on purpose or by accident. Yeah, I couldn't imagine playing these games. I did play Baldur's Gate with my wife for a while, with somebody you're living with. It goes a little bit smoother, a little bit. But let me do this first. And then do some heroic strikes here. but yeah, it's still tough even when you're super cooperating with somebody because, one person reads faster than the other, and the other person doesn't want to wait on the other. I don't think it's a very good fit for multiplayer, but yeah. I definitely would like to think about doing some of those games here on stream. I think again, my concern would be just the length of time. Hi, Kitty. Hi. I mean, I stream about 10 to 12 hours a week. If I was going to do a complete Let's Play of, let's say, Baldur's Gate 2, that would take how many weeks of streaming? Can you say a lot? I don't know if my voice could keep up reading all those lines of dialogue, too. It's a lot of dialogue. So much dialogue. Is Baldur's Gate proper turn-based? No, Baldur's Gate... Now, there's two Baldur's Gate, to be clear. There's Baldur's Gate on the PC that the vast majority of people think of. And then there's Baldur's Gate on the PlayStation 2, which is a completely different game. But Baldur's Gate on the PC is pause and play. You can set it up to where pause is every person's turn, making it kind of sort of, feel like some sort of turn-based deal, but like I said, everything keeps moving while you're casting your spells, or you're attacking, or whatever it may be. So to me, it doesn't feel quite like... I want to be clear, though. Speaking of not liking a game at first, then going back and, liking it later, I don't like the combat system. I wish it was turn-based, but when I originally played when Baldur's Gate first came out, so let me start over. When Baldur's Gate first came out, I was so excited for it because I love D&D. I was excited for it, and then became very unexcited for it once I bought it and paid all this money and put it in and realized this combat is not what I was expecting. Part of liking or not liking games, your expectations are in a certain place, and then if the game doesn't meet those expectations, it can have a very detrimental effect on your enjoyment of the game, even if the game is a good game. So that was me with Baldur's Gate. So I quit the game 10 hours in or so, 20 hours in. I hated that combat system so much. Why couldn't they keep it turn-based? I don't understand. This is, you saw how upset I got with Child of Light and what they did with the combat there. I feel like it was a decision of taking something that was great and making it worse. Why would you do that? You can imagine how I felt, about that. Well, years later, because everybody I talk to who likes Baldur's Gate, the vast majority love the game because of the story and the characters and the dialogue. No one comes to me and says, man, but that combat system was so engaging. So I went back and played it many, many years later, and just to enjoy it for the story. I didn't play it on super easy or anything. I played it on normal because I always play my games on normal. But and I did enjoy it for the story. I also got a little bit of a greater appreciation for the combat system. I still don't love it. I don't know if I say I'd even like it, but I learned to play basically using D&D's rules within the confines of the Infinity Engine, and learned to accept it for as it was and not be, not allow my dashed hopes to make me overly critical, of it. It's not a bad combat system. I would say nowadays, my feelings on it is it's not a bad, if I take out my herd expectations aside, it's not a bad combat system. It just isn't great, and D&D deserves to be great. But it's, I would say it's either okay, somewhere between okay and good. Once you learn to play the game on its terms, the Infinity Engine on its terms within the D&D rule set, And then later on, they made some pause and play games that were built specifically around that, you know, the fact that you can pause and play, and didn't try to force D&D's rules into it. And when you do that, you can come up with a more compelling battle system. I think, is it Tower of Time? And I might do a video on that sometime. But that one I enjoyed more, and there's another one. So, yeah, just to be clear, there is... let me put another one of those in there. Oops, got to put it in over here. And take out... I'm not so convinced that does a whole lot of good stuff. So there's that. I need to play through Baldur's Gate 2. I got about halfway through it with my wife, and we never finished it. So I need to go back and finish it. Back to menu. I did do a playthrough of Icewind Dale, the enhanced edition, a couple of years ago, and I enjoyed that. And that isn't much story at all. I just enjoyed it for being a D&D adventure, and I've just learned to accept the Infinity Engine and get kind of decent at it. So... let's see here. Let me read what you got here. Oh, really? Even that classic game everyone talks about is like that. Yes, it is. Is Torment also player pausing? Yes, I am 95.5% sure it is. I barely touched Torment, so, but I want to say for my 1 hour with it 10, 15, 20 years ago, yes. It's Infinity Engine, so that's why I say that. I remember my high school friends obsessing over the thick game manual for it. Yes. Understand that with the Infinity Engine, you still got the D&D rules. That's the problem for me. That's the game design flaw, is you've got a very thick, tough, deep combat system from the D&D that's meant to be where you think out your turns with all these possible, you know, options and decisions, and you're forcing it into something that's a pause and play, right? So all the complications of D&D is still there. All the, you know, and mind you, Baldur's Gate 1 was 2nd edition. Icewind Dale was 3rd edition. Icewind Dale, or Baldur's Gate 2, has some things, I think, from 3rd edition, but it's still, I want to say 2nd edition. But Icewind Dale is 3rd edition, I believe. Icewind Dale 2 is definitely full on 3rd. 1 might be 2.5 or something, but regardless, they're just deep and complicated, you know, gaming systems that really need to be, you know, turn-based. Do I want to do him or her? I want to do him, I think. Let me do a shout, bravado, and then buster his butt down. Wow, you're special, Peter, because you can stream, have a conversation with me, and raid all at the same time. That takes a special skill, Peter. How do you do that? I want to know how you do that, because that seems pretty insane, and my wizard's about to die. Can I get... Nope, I can't. Okay. Shields up. Let's do a heroic strike. A shield up on her and mend her up. I should automatically put those into put away list. It's up to you. I will say, again, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 is legendary for a reason. They're BioWare games. Great story. Great characters. I don't want to take that away from them at all. And I think, like I said, once I came to just say, let me accept the Infinity Engine for what it is and not bring all my prejudice to the table, then I can, you know, play it with some level of enjoyment and see it as basically an okay battle system. I'm not drawn to the game for the battle system, obviously, but I'll play it for the story and stuff. And Icewind Dale doesn't have much of a story. I just played that just for the coolness of exploring the world building and everything else, and playing through a classic D&D world. Yeah, we're using virtual audio cables. I put streams I'm lurking on, though in certain channels I can listen, but it won't bleed through my stream. Yeah, but how do you divide your attention like that? That's insane. I have 3. I have blue. We're gonna do a searing lash. Creeping cold. Let's do a fire pillar first, and then a creeping cold. See if we can kill him before he kills my mage. There we go. Oh, it's those counterattacks that are killing her. Oh, it's not perfectly divided. Ha ha ha. Well, you know, I like to multitask, and so usually back in the old days that was me playing while watching YouTube. I think it's more interesting to talk with you guys instead. Let's see, can I mend now? I need to mend her up big time. So these days I'm not getting much interaction to respond to. Much interaction to respond to. Oh, not a lot of people chatting in the while you're streaming. We definitely need to get some buildy cards. Let's see here. Kind of a tougher battle there with 4 enemies. My middle person's there is down to 50-ish. Let's see here. Right, I'm again dodging buzzwords that come off as advertising. You'll get to know my ways soon. Well, no, I mean, you're just making a statement of fact. You're just saying, hey, you know, not getting a lot of people to talk to. It's not like, look, we've got, you know, at any given point in time, we're lucky to have a dozen concurrent persons who are showing on the stream, which, you know, half of them are paying attention somewhere else. So, you know, when we're doing a shout out, we're doing it to all of 6 people tops. So I'm not too worried. It's okay, cat. The cat gets all freaked out whenever I sneeze. And the funny thing is I think he's causing me to sneeze. So he almost tore off my skin as I sneezed there. It's okay, Boo. Sneezing is a normal part of life, especially when you're doing your dander and your fur all around me. Ugh. Okay. Alright, what we're doing here. We were doing something. Oh yeah, we're fighting bad guys. And we need some cards that don't cost as much. All right. Little kitty scratch over the weekend. Yeah, kitty scratches will do that when they get all spooked. And sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot. I usually just like to lurk while watching a stream. Well, there you go. You know, everyone does what makes them, you know, what makes you happy. What, you know, it's all about, you know, just relaxing. It's all about just relaxing. You relax the way that that's relaxing to you. Ugh. They're healing each other and stuff. That's rude. Alright, that's exactly the card I was looking for, actually. So I can do all this. And get a barrier blade. At least get some defense up here. Definitely have to start playing a little bit more intelligently here, because they're hitting harder and getting more life and all that other jazz. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Phil, aka JCServant. You're watching JCServant Plays Hand of Gilgamesh. Our SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh. Working our way through this here. We're gonna try to take out some of this guy's life here and take one of these down. I'm the self-proclaimed guy who entertains a streamer. You do entertain me, Peter. You keep me company while I'm playing SteamWorld Doodad. Appreciate it. I do. I also appreciate your huge ass factory when I come by for a visit. It is one big factory. I just need to hit him for one more point here, so let me mend up somebody first, because man, all of our hit points are super low now. Been doing some fitness boxing on my Nintendo Switch. That's kind of fun for burning off a few calories. Haven't tried that one out. I think the fitness ring is a little bit more entertaining, especially for RP gamers. Ooh, treasure chest. Found 300 gold pieces. Ooh, what's this? Cleave takes 4 steam. Holy cow. Deals 425 strength as physical damage to one foe. If the foe is scrapped, any excess damage will be dealt to all foes. Wow. But that's so much. That's 4 steam. But it's so much damage. Ooh, so the card system gets thicker. It does. There's a cleave. Got 2 of those. I'll give it a shot. I do feel like we could probably use another strike card, though. Oh, but there's no more strike cards. Do y'all like these kind of games with card-based, combat, whether Slay the Spire or whatever have you? Let's see. Where am I? I'm over here. Okay. So apparently I got off the track here somewhere. Oh, hello. Oh. Let's not. Let's not. Let me take a look. Wait, I went up. So I must be up towards the top. And I haven't really seen anywhere where I can stop and rest and heal, I don't think. Nothing there. I think I prefer the cards in real life. I do like having cards in the hand. I just don't like people so much. Like, I don't know. There's a lot. So I played a lot of pen and paper with a lot of random groups and stuff, and dealt with a lot of drama, as a result. And let's just say I don't miss the drama. Google says I like card games in general, but I don't think I've played much of this style. Last card style RPG I played was Arcana. Arcana? I have to say I don't think I played that one. Yeah, I say that. Yeah, I've hardly played much. I've collected Pokemon cards and hardly played much games. Well, you'll definitely get to see some of them with me because I'm a fan of them, and you'll see, we've got a number of roguelike card games. If you saw my Neoverse playthrough, the Hour to Impress the other day. Of course, Slay the Spire is real popular. Let's see, Min takes 2 attack. Let's do Focus. What does that do? Upgrade for 3 turns. It grants 1 additional redraw. Let's do that. Then do Lash. And then Heal. There's also, they haven't brought any, lately, anything that would work today. I don't think they brought any Pokemon card games over. What's interesting is, of course, you got Hearthstone, you've got Legends of Runeterra, you've got the new Magic the Gathering Online that's on Epic. So if you're more in the competitive scene, they got all these virtuals that have really, of course, exploded. You talk about the timing on the new Magic the Gathering, right, a few months before COVID hit. Magic the Gathering was huge. It is huge. It's what kept most of the local game company or local board game companies in business. In all seriousness, I talk to them. Big pen and paper person. I always talk to my gaming companies, and they'll tell you they would go out of business if it wasn't for Magic the Gathering. So I imagine a lot of them are going out of business now because they were Magic the Gathering. They were always afraid that Magic the Gathering Online would become a big thing because Hearthstone's a big thing, and that might take away from the presence of the store. But there's always the draw of physically playing. But then COVID happened, and COVID made it very unpopular to play, together with other people. So that became a huge concern. And a few months ago, they launched this new online, app that can be played on the computer anywhere. And for that crowd, it went gangbusters. For those of us not loyal to Magic the Gathering, you have Hearthstone that's been, a big header for a long time that's played online. You got Legends of Runeterra that's come out. That's a really good game. So you've got competitive choices to that. And by the way, Michael Apps, our very own Wheels, who I keep talking about as the guy who, suggested this game and more, he loves Hearthstone. He's a big Hearthstone player. Yeah, I'm not going to get to you today. Ugh. Just nothing. Wow, 26 times 3 for 1 cost. Holy crap, holy. Really? But I've only got 2. Grr. But that's 54 to all. That's even better. But it doesn't kill that guy in the back. 38 to 38. So many choices. Give me a second. 38 to 38, 38, and 21. Okay, so 38. Let's do that. Okay. So then Peter says, I decided I should get a deck building game so I don't have to rely on friends buying cards. But again, I've hardly played it. Yeah, absolutely, Peter. So if I had like local friends that weren't big into Magic the Gathering and I wanted to get cards, you can play deck building games. You're right. Dominion is the first one that really kind of hit big. There's been improvements on Dominion from what I understand. I have Dominion because I played it years ago. I love deck building games. And a lot of these deck building games are now on Steam as well. And of course, Slay the Spire is just a deck building game. It's a roguelike deck building game. A lot of deck building games that you can play, solo. There's not too many competitive deck building games on the computer, unfortunately, because that takes away from their model of selling you a bunch of microtransactions and packs and crap. Stupid video game companies. They're quite rude, for the record. Let's see. That'll get rid of one. So let's do. Well, this will get rid of one too. But deck building games, if I'm just talking about local stuff, with friends, I played Dominion with a friend to death and he loved it. Let's see here. Got him really into it. Dr. Game Geek. Hey, welcome, Dr. Game Geek. I don't know if I've seen you here before, but if I have, it's been a while. Welcome or welcome back. That's the one thing keeping the local hangout going. You're absolutely right. Moogle says, yeah, Magic the Gathering and stuff. But I didn't play much online stuff because I'm not particularly competitive and I prefer PvE. And Moogle, you and I are birds of a feather. Really, I'm with you. I don't like PvP. That's why you don't see me playing a lot of PvP, anything. I'm completely with you. And I differ from Wheels there. That's why I love Monster Hunter, because it's very cooperative. But I don't like Overwatch or whatever, or any of those competitive games. I'm not mature enough. When I lose, I throw my controller across the screen. I'm horrible. I'm just an overgrown kid. In PvE games, they're okay with making it to where you win most of the time because, they want you to feel good when you play their game. But with PvP games, if the matchmaking's done really well, you win and lose 50% of the time. There's no way to get around that. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. So I hate losing 50% of the time. I feel like I, wasted half my time. So I'm with you. All the reasons in the world I'm not a big PvP person. And while I was playing MMOs, I would dabble in PvP, but most of the time your side loses, or half the time your side loses. Or heaven forbid you're playing the Horde and then you lose most of the time. Yeah, it's not super fun. Definitely not. Let's see what else is said here. I've come to realize I don't like being that competitive either, says Peter. So I like the card games that are most of a casual or party game. I'm not a fan of the funny thing is I'm not a fan of apples to apples and stuff because I feel like it's completely too subjective. And I'm an accountant. I'm a black and white person. I like games with hard rules. But those games are very, very popular. I have tons of friends who love them, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of comments I missed. I gotta stop for a second and read all these comments. All right. So when I build Moogle says when I build decks, I mostly build theme decks, so I just end up losing badly if I actually play against people that build decks to win. Yeah, ditto. I like to just build what looks pretty or what looks like it makes sense or it's a theme deck. I was never big into the meta, even when I played Magic the Gathering and I bought the cards and stuff way back in the day. Dr. Gengeek says, I like Genshin Online because it was insanely good. I encourage co-op, plus their Discord community is awesome. Never saw anything like it. Well, that's really cool. That's really nice to hear. I think that's also one of the strengths of Final Fantasy XIV Online. They just have one of the best communities, much better than WoW's community. Excuse me. Exactly, that hurts personal value. I'm not sure what that means. Um,